anxiety, and other conditions. We use the traditions of centuries-old natural science from India, yoga, Ayurveda, acupuncture, and naturopathy in personalized programs that help you take charge of your own health. A minimum 5-day stay is recommended for best results. Book now at WION.com.
Namaste. Hello, friends. We did Dr. Subhash Chandra show, popularly known as DSC show, for 4 years, from August 2014 to August 2018. 28 states of Bharat. Of course, we reached out to all of you in 190 countries across the world. The show was very successful. Each episode was being watched by almost 25 million people every week. For past 6 years, the demand of the show has never died down. People write to us, people ask for the show to restart again. Hence, we are beginning the show once again on All Z Network, also on WION, which is the global network channel from India. Again, thank you for your love and affection. See you soon at Subhash Chandra Show.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at yoursarthi@such.org.in.
Welcome to another episode of World of Africa on WION World is One. I'm Eric Njoka, and this week we pay special focus on the disease that triggered an emergency in the continent, Mpox. The World Health Organization is scrambling to procure vaccines to curb the spread of the virus that has wreaked havoc in one particular region in Africa, the Democratic Republic of Congo. The health agency is trying to avert this from being a global catastrophe. But time is ticking, and the problem started late last year. Will the global health body beat the clock? Thank you for joining us. As cases of Mpox increase on the continent, the Africa CDC has vowed to supply 10 million doses by 2025, while the countries affected increase their vigilance around the disease by focusing on surveillance, prevention, and community engagement. And as the rest of the world fights to avert an avalanche of cases spreading, other countries, including Sudan, are battling another outbreak, that of cholera. The situation has become dire in the northeast African nation, where the population is suffering from the fallout of catastrophic floods and a 16-month conflict. Here is our cover report.
This center, set up in Goma, is unusually busy. Patients from the region and beyond have been crowding the center with symptoms of the Mpox virus. According to the Africa Center for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, under the African Union, to date, 3,101 confirmed and 15,636 suspected cases have been reported from 12 African Union member states, resulting in 541 deaths a fatality rate of 2.89%. The hardest hit country, the Democratic Republic of Congo, where the new clade 1b strain was first detected in September 2023, has reported 1,005 cases, which is 222 confirmed, 783 suspected, and also 24 deaths in a week. All 26 provinces in the DRC, home to some 100 million people, have reported cases.
On essaie un peu de maîtriser la situation.
We are trying to control the situation a little. As we are seeing the sick people, these are the sick who came to us barely 2 days ago. We have already established treatment, their management according to the national protocol, the treatment of which is still symptomatic.
More cases have been reported since the beginning of the year than all of 2023, that saw 14,383 cases according to the Africa CDC. The first cases of the Mpox virus outside of Africa were also recorded in Sweden and Pakistan. The WHO will soon publish its first emergency committee recommendations, and along with NGOs has also called for ramping up vaccine production.
But indeed, this past week, the Director General of the World Health Organization declared a public health emergency of international concern, which definitely does mean that Mpox is a concern of ours that we have been and will continue to monitor and track really closely. Effective surveillance, effective contact tracing, alongside robust risk communication and community engagement, those are the best ways to control the spread of Mpox, both within countries but also across borders.
Mpox is a viral disease that can spread from animals to humans, but also human to human through sexual or close physical contact. Symptoms include fever, muscular aches, and large boil-like skin lesions. And as the rest of the continent and global health bodies rushed against time to find vaccines to avert the spread of Mpox, Sudan was grappling with a problem of its own. Doctors and patients were seen here scrambling at a hospital in Wad al-Hulewa locality in the eastern Sudanese state of Kassala, where Sudan's health ministry declared a cholera epidemic after weeks of heavy rain in the war-torn country.
The problem in the area is that the vast majority of residents rely on river water as a source of drinking water, whereas it is polluted and needs treatment, and this requires volunteers to treat the water.
The humanitarian crisis from the civil war in Sudan is also exacerbating infections, including cholera, and the bacterial disease has killed over 300 people in the region.
We are seeing reports of cholera, measles, malaria, dengue, meningitis from several states. So far, we've had 11,327 cholera cases reported from 12 states with 316 deaths. Now, the reporting is slow. So we expect that there is more than that, but that's what we've had reported. Access to healthcare has been really constrained due to the insecurity. So we also want to see the violence and the conflict stopping. And we're seeing many attacks on healthcare.
The army-aligned government blocked aid deliveries in February through the Adre crossing into territory controlled by the RSF, alleging it was being used for weapons deliveries. Global monitors say that across Sudan, half the population of about 50 million face food insecurity. Africa Bureau, WION, World is One.
Tunisian authorities have prosecuted, convicted or imprisoned at least 8 prospective candidates for the October 6, 2024 presidential election. The Electoral Commission has approved only 3 candidates, including incumbent President Kais Saied. Observers have urged Tunisian authorities to urgently end politically motivated prosecutions and allow for free and fair elections. Here's a report.
Tensions were palpable in Tunisia even before the Election Council and President Kais Saied made this announcement.
I officially announce my candidacy for the October 6 presidential election in order to keep up the fight in the battle for national liberation.
Faiza Rahim sits in her living room, gazing at the old photos of her detained husband, Issam Chebi, a prominent politician who recently attempted to run for the presidential election. Chebi, the Secretary General of the political party at Al-Jumhuri, has been jailed for a year without trial. Despite efforts to participate in the upcoming October 6th election, neither his party nor his lawyer could obtain power of attorney to represent him during the popular endorsements collection process, effectively barring his candidacy. Opposition figures and human rights groups have accused authorities of using arbitrary restrictions and intimidation in the lead-up to the election.
They rejected his candidacy. He was actually waiting for this. In this climate we live in, they say an electoral wedding. But I see it as a funeral, not an electoral wedding, honestly.
It's not only Faiza who is angry. Hundreds of Tunisians demonstrated in Tunis to mark National Women's Day and called for the release of women prisoners who have criticized President Said.
In this stifling heat, women prisoners languish in prisons without electricity, without water, without the slightest decent living conditions. Today, prisoners are being searched in the most intimate parts of their bodies.
I would never have imagined that today there are so many women imprisoned for an activist act, an opinion, a media statement, or for their involvement in civil society. Among them are former activists, such as those who were part of the Truth and Dignity Commission, like Sihem Ben Sedrine or Party President Abir Musi, imprisoned solely for an act or a political position expressed in the media.
The Tunisian Election Board announced that 3 candidates, including incumbent President Kais Saied, had been cleared to contest the upcoming elections. The 2 other candidates on the ballot are former lawmakers Zuhair Maghzoui and Ayachi Zamil, who heads a little-known party.
Zuhair Maghzoui, who has collected 11 sponsorships from ARP deputies, Mr. Kais Saied, who has obtained 248,467 validated voter sponsorships and 294 sponsorships from elected representatives divided between the ARP, the Council of Regions and Districts and local authorities. And finally, Ayachi Zamel, who has collected 10,457 validated voter sponsorships.
66-year-old Kais Saied was democratically elected in 2019, but orchestrated a sweeping power grab in 2021 and is now seeking another term in office in elections to be held on October 6th. He has been ruling by decree since dissolving parliament in 2021. Several would-be contenders complained of obstacles in obtaining their criminal records as well as the necessary endorsement forms. Numerous potential candidates are behind bars, many of them over accusations of conspiracy against the state. As part of Said's consolidation of power, Tunisia's constitution was rewritten in 2022 to create a presidential regime whose parliament has extremely limited powers. More than 20 of Said's opponents have been detained in a flurry of arrests that began in February 2023. Africa Bureau, WION World is One.
A court in Uganda has convicted Thomas Kwoyelo, a former commander of the Lord's Resistance Army, or the LRA, of dozens of crimes against humanity in a landmark case that has sparked debates about the criminal culpability of former child soldiers. The charges included murder, rape, torture, pillaging, abduction and destruction of settlements for internally displaced people. The judge said, adding that Kwoyelo was found not guilty of 3 counts of murder and that 31 alternate offences were dismissed by the court in the northern Ugandan city of Gulu. Kwoyelo's conviction makes him the first and only high-profile LRA soldier to be tried for war crimes by a court in the East African country. His former commanders, including Joseph Kony, however, remain at large.
A Ugandan court found Thomas Kwoyelo, a senior commander in the Lord's Resistance Army, guilty of dozens of war crimes. This is the first time a Ugandan court has tried a senior LRA member. The verdict is the first conclusive trial by Uganda's International Crimes Division against an LRA commander. It potentially sets a precedent for future prosecutions. The Ugandan military captured Koyelo in 2009 in the jungles of northeastern Congo. He has been in pre-trial detention since then, as his case moved slowly through the Ugandan court system. Koyelo was indicted on 93 war crimes, charges related to murder, rape, enslavement, torture, and abductions. The court found him guilty on 44 charges, dismissed 31 as duplications, and acquitted him on 3. The LRA, led by Joseph Kony, terrorized northern Ugandan and neighboring countries for over 2 decades. While Kony remains at large, several former LRA commanders have faced justice, including Dominic Ongwen, convicted by the International Criminal Court in 2021. Earlier in 2024, international judges awarded victims of Ugandan child soldier turned commander Dominic Ongwen over 52 million euros in reparations, saying women and children especially suffered serious and long-lasting harm. Ongwen, who was himself abducted at the age of 9 by the rebel group led by fugitive Joseph Kony, was found guilty in 2021 and sentenced to 25 years behind bars for war crimes and crimes against humanity.
The Chamber is satisfied that setting the amount of Mr. Ongwen's liability for reparations at an amount of 52,429,000 euros is fair, equitable and appropriate, and takes into account the rights of the victims and those of the convicted person.
The crimes were committed while Ongwen was part of Kony's Lord's Resistance Army that carried out a reign of terror in northern Uganda in the early 2000s. Ongwen, who is in his mid-40s but whose birth date remains unclear, became a senior commander in Kony's LRA under the nom de guerre of White Ant. Prosecutors portrayed him as leading a reign of terror by the LRA, personally ordering the massacres of over 130 civilians at 5 refugee camps between 2002 and 2005. The LRA is responsible for the deaths of more than 100,000 people and the kidnapping of 60,000 children, with boys transformed into child soldiers and girls kept as sex slaves. ICC prosecutor Karim Khan in 2022 said he will ask judges to confirm charges against Kony despite his absence, as the rebel leader is still at large. Ongwen's trial was unique in the history of the ICC, as it was the first time dealing with a former victim, a child soldier who became a perpetrator. Africa Bureau, WION World is One.
A 22-year-old Sudanese woman who fled to Libya as a refugee from the war in her country has defied the preconceptions and customs of a conservative society with the unfailing support and encouragement of her brother and the garage owner. She is a thriving mechanic who now narrates her story of perseverance.
Wrench in hand, Asawar Mustafa, a female Sudanese refugee in Libya, inspects an oil filter in the women-only section of a garage in western Libya, where being a mechanic is considered a man's role. That hasn't deterred the 22-year-old whose main concern until recently was survival. Having fled the war in Sudan with her family and abandoning her last year of studies in pharmacy.
It was a bit difficult at first. For example, I was afraid of making mistakes or doing things wrongly. But when I saw the result, thank God I was reassured and excited about it.
Each day, Asawar, donning a white scarf and black blouse, welcomes a number of female drivers from Misrata, a large port city about 200 kilometers east of Tripoli.
More and more women are driving in Libya. They feel comfortable and reassured when they come here, where they deal with women
The Mustafas left Sudan last October amid the war that broke out in April 2023 between the Sudanese army under Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces or RSF, led by his former deputy Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo. The conflict has left tens of thousands dead according to the UN.
I encouraged her every time I came to see her. I told her that if she needed anything in this area, I would be there for her. I could see what she could do. There were times when she needed help.
After a 10-day voyage through the desert, Asawar arrived in Kufra, an oasis where the UN says more than 40,000 Sudanese refugees live alongside 60,000 locals. The town is around 745 miles or 1,200 Misrata, where Mustafa finally found a job.
This should not be seen as a job for men only. Women may want to work in this area and may want to organize their own business. Nowadays, no field is only for men anymore.
According to the World Bank, the proportion of women in the labor force in Libya reached 37% in 2022. There are other garages in Libya that offer a section for female drivers, but Shagib said his is the first to provide services by a woman. Africa Bureau WION, World is One.
Weyba Tis is a sauna-like traditional Ethiopian beauty therapy. Lighting local wood and wild plants in a hole in the ground is the way. The consumer is then wrapped in blankets and set in a chair over the smoking pit. This therapy is gaining big city popularity in Addis Ababa. Here's a report.
With her face caked in honey and hair smothered in butter, Saba Yilma wafts cloud of fragrant smoke out from under a heavy leather cloak to help moderate the temperature of her Weyba Tis, a traditional Ethiopian sauna therapy. Seated on a chair above a small fire of smouldering twigs and herbs, Saba is one of a growing crowd of young urbanites who regularly enjoy the beauty treatment, which users claim also heals anything from aches to birth-related trauma.
It was amazing. I had a slight pain over my thighs and my lower back. Now I'm relieved. Really, it is a fantastic feeling. You feel relaxed. In addition to that, it is good for us, the women, especially for our uterus and our back. I tell you, I'm very happy.
The business is owned by Fana Gebre Medhin, who brought the practice from her hometown Raya in the northern region of Tigray more than 2 decades ago. She is about to open her third spa in the city. There is some early evidence that Weyba tree, main fuel in the fire, has medicinal power on mice and rats. A study published last year in a journal of evidence-based complementary and alternative medicine found that Weyba extract could be used to develop treatments for managing immune-related disorders, though the study did not explore the potential benefits of its smoke to humans.
When I started this business, it was only older women who were using this service. They were coming to be cured from backaches, joint pain, and purification of the uterus. Now, the vast majority of our clients are modern young women. It makes the skin clean, very clean. It gives a unique appearance.
We do understand that further studies are needed on this, but we have proved on ourselves and those who have used it that it is a cure for hip and joint pain, headache, and also for other skin problems. It is not only Ethiopians who are using the Weyba smoke. These days, even foreigners who come from different countries use it.
The therapeutic sauna has become so popular that modern women who work in regions away from the capital make trips to Addis Ababa at least twice a week to get the treatment done. Africa Bureau WION, World is One.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of World of Africa. Stay in touch with us on all our social media platforms and tell us about the show there. I'm Eric Njoka, and until next time, it is goodbye from me.
Namaste. Hello, friends. We did Dr. Subhash Chandra show, popularly known as DSC show, for 4 years, from August 2014 to August 2018. 28 states of Bharat. Of course, we reached out to all of you in 190 countries across the world. The show was very successful. Each episode was being watched by almost 25 million people every week. For past 6 years, the demand of the show has never died down. People write to us, people ask for the show to restart again. Hence, we are beginning the show once again on All Z Network, also on WION, which is the global network channel from India. Again, thank you for your love and affection. See you soon at Subhash Chandra Show.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to W.H.O at yoursarthi@such.org.in.
We hereby call the
America's Democratic National Convention underway. Together, Biden takes center stage amid "We Love You, Joe" chants.
She knows that tonight is Joe Biden's night. Kamala Harris is the right person to beat Donald Trump.
POTUS calls on Americans to save democracy.
democracy has delivered. And now democracy must be preserved.
Teary-eyed Biden embraces Harris and Wolves. America has raced to power on WION, World is One.
WION Health Resort is unique, the only one of its kind. Experience the 4 paths of natural wellness: yoga, Ayurveda, acupuncture, and naturopathy. Each uniquely customized program improves the whole person to make every person whole. Come to WION Health Resort. Make your reservation at yowon.com.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION, World is One.
Everyone loves a contest. But sport isn't just about victory and defeat. When the GOATs in sport speak, you hear it first on WION.
You have to play good cricket over a period of time.
I should push myself right out of the damn tournament.
We go beyond the stats. Our stories are quoted the world over.
At WION, sport is part of our DNA. Come, join us on this journey. Weekdays 6:30 p.m. IST, 1 p.m. GMT.
Know more, understand better, think ahead. Hello and a very warm welcome. You are watching Gravitas with me, Molly Gambhir. Get the facts, not the bombast. On the 26th of March, dynamic pricing, Baloch separatists, Gravitas cuts out the clutter. Gravitas keeps calm when others scream. Gravitas brings news to life. Weekdays 9 p.m. IST, 3:30 p.m. GMT. Gravitas. Seeing is believing.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is one.